I was eating. That countdown was only enough time for me to inhale the meal my daughter made me. Oh, double, sorry. Ah. Hi, everybody. We are going to talk about some pre-workout problems probably most of you guys experience. One of the biggest questions I get every time I meet somebody is, what's a good pre-workout? And they ask me what brand I recommend. And I tell them, I can't tell you that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I can tell you that. But I ask a few questions usually. In fact, if any of my clients pop in here, they will attest to that. But let's go over the problems first, and that'll explain why I don't give them a straight answer right off the bat. Okay, so what do you guys think is the first number one complaint people have about pre-workouts? Does anybody know? So probably you do. It's jitters. Most of us will get the jitters. You can probably assume why, right? Caffeine, high caffeine intake. So jitters are going to be caused by there's two types of pre-workout. There's a stimulant-based pre-workout, and then there's a non-stimulant pre-workout. Stimulant pre-workouts will give you that jitter feeling, most of them, or they can. Let's put it that way. They can, depending on how much taste, Red. Yeah, well, taste is a whole other thing. That we'll get to when we get to the poop part. And not that you're tasting poop, I promise. But, okay, so caffeine, like a normal cup of coffee, depending on how you make it, right? If it's drip, if it's espresso, is going to determine about how much caffeine, and then also the type of bean, right? So a normal cup of coffee can be anywhere, I think, between 60 and like 90 or 50 and 100 or something like that milligrams of caffeine per cup. You've never had a pre-workout drink, Red. That's probably a good thing, but if you've ever gone to a fitness convention, that's what they're putting out in all of these little samplers. Okay, so the first fitness convention I ever went to, Mr. Mustard took me to the Olympia convention. And you're walking around and you're super stoked because you're getting all these like free samples of stuff. You have no idea what's in it. You're just stoked you got it. And they'll also, a lot of the times, let you taste it because you want to know it tastes good. And that can often be a winning factor as to why someone buys it, which is, again, the poop will come up to. So these pre-workouts, the caffeine alone, I'm not even talking about all the other stuff they'll put in there, but just the caffeine alone in one serving can be anywhere between 300, 400, 500 milligrams of caffeine. Now, at about 400 milligrams of caffeine, you start getting into this thing they coined caffeine intoxication. Okay? But that's like how many cups of coffee in one pre-workout? Some people are double scooping this. and wonder why they have the jitters. So take us back to this Olympia convention that we're walking around, and they have all these free samples, and they give you these cups, these little Dixie cups with, you know, they're full of a sample of pre-workout. So if you took maybe, I'd say 4 or 5 of those, that would make a serving. And you're going to like 10, 20 different tables, and you're drinking these things, and they're just filled with all this other stuff, let alone the caffeine. And then you're eating these samples of protein bars, which is just processed crap for the most part. And I mean, now it's gotten a lot better because the health industry is a little more focused on quality ingredients, thank goodness. So things are shifting. But I mean, you can imagine why we all had diarrhea the next day. I mean, I didn't. That wasn't me. I was fine. It was fine. I was fine. But people do. And you wonder why. Or they feel like crap. So you would maybe die because you wonder. And I mean, and I say that sarcastically because you shouldn't wonder why you feel like that. But anyway, so these pre-workouts, they have insane amounts of caffeine in them. That is going to make you jittery. But does that mean you don't want caffeine in your pre-workout? So if you do want caffeine in your workout, which most people do want some sort of stimulation for their brain, wakes up. So does anyone know how caffeine works? Maybe. It kind of sucks because it's like a 30-second delay, so I could like sit here for 30 seconds every single time, and that would just be ridiculous. So I'm just going to act like I'm waiting. Polite pause and answer. Okay, so it activates the cell by allowing calcium, hey Nat, into the cell. Okay? When you think about that, when we've talked about sleep in our last live stream, I think I touched on one of the reasons why you stay up at night, right? And you have those constant thoughts that just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. I know I've talked to a few of you guys about those types of things. But so you can't get that thought out of your head. A lot of times that's calcium that continues to run and rush into the cell. And you don't have enough magnesium to shut that down. If you look at a lot of these pre-workouts, they have insane amounts of caffeine, and then they also have magnesium in them, which magnesium is nice and relaxing and makes you feel good, and it's part of a bunch of different processes that are very important. But it just makes me wonder, are we maybe working against ourselves here by adding magnesium and these insane amounts of caffeine? Because caffeine also activates the stomach acids in your gut. Hence, maybe some of the gut issues that we'll talk about in a little bit. So if you have this insane amount of caffeine and you're double scooping, okay, imagine what that's going to do to your gut. You're going to get an excess amount of digestive acids, of acid in your gut. So, and then on top of it, caffeine has a half-life. Does anyone know what the half-life is? Nat, yeah, I am still a mod. I have PTSD because it was taken away from me so often before. Why wouldn't you be a mod anymore? I don't do that. I also don't expect you to be here. If you're here, I'm stoked because that helps me, but I know you guys have lives. And so that's kind of what makes it all the better that you choose to spend your time here when you do have a life. So anyways, thank you. And plus I'd text you first and just drop a bomb and don't give you a reason why and what. Never mind. We'll go on about that later. That's a different time. Okay. So does anybody know the half-life of caffeine? So, or does anybody even know what a half-life is? Maybe we should explain that. So a half-life means caffeine, it's almost like you break it in half. Like you drink caffeine and then you drink it again without drinking it, kind of, in a way. So it has a half-life. I'm done with work, so it works out well for me for red. Yay. So it's not just going to digest in 2 hours. You're almost going to get like a spike. And it's actually in 3 hours, I believe, 3 or 4 hours, you get that second like boost with caffeine. So if you're drinking caffeine late at night, that's why they say, okay, so red knows. So that's why they say not to drink coffee like after 2 o'clock, right? Which is like the witching hour when you need it the most, I think. But then you're going 3, 5 o'clock, you're getting that boost, which is then going to increase cortisol. Which does what? We talked about this in our sleep live. Cortisol blocks melatonin. And then at the same time, if you're spiking cortisol at the, now I know we got off topic a little bit, but if you are spiking cortisol at the end of the day consistently, the body will then choose to spit out cortisol consistently, or it might, I should say, because everyone is different. But it will be likely to want to spread it out all day long. And then instead of having that cortisol curve that we're going to go over in the future, you then have this like straight line. And then that just messes up a whole bunch of other things. Cortisol will ruin things. It's good for things, but you need that curve. You need that up and down. I always need a midday pick-me-up. And that is common. Common, Nat. Super common. That's why I'm saying it sucks. Okay, but you want to be able to sleep. And actually, when you start to allow that melatonin to build up at the end of the day, you're going to sleep better and you're going to feel more rested. And then the next morning, you shouldn't need as much caffeine to get you through the day. If you have adequate rest, adequate nutrition is a big one, adequate micronutrients. Adequate water. A lot of people are just dehydrated, unfortunately. Okay, so caffeine, what else does it do? It releases cortisol. We do want that when we're working out. Does anyone know why we want cortisol to spike when we're working out? Does anybody know? So if you are building muscle, if you're, yes, mixed drinks, yes. Yeah, Red said mixed drinks will mess you up with caffeine. So if you are building muscle, why would you want a cortisol spike? Oh, thank you. So if you are building muscle, you want a cortisol spike because that means there's inflammation being had, right? So it means you're working out hard. Your body is going to have the same response, I said this before, as running from a bear, okay? The same physical response, fight or flight. But this is also what plays into why your pre-workout might not be working for you. Might be crap. So, okay, so releases cortisol. We talked about how it activates the cell. That's why you would want it. Increases fat burn. That's what I'm trying to think of. Ha! So you do want it, okay? Because, I'm saying another reason why you do want it is because it will activate the adrenaline receptors on your fat cells, okay? So if you're looking to burn fat, gosh, it's hot in here, but last time I turned on the fan, last time I turned on the fan, I could hear it in the live, and I didn't like that. So hold on. Maybe if we aim it away. Like this. If you can hear it, if you can hear that, please tell me. Because I really don't like hearing it. It's made the audio sound horrific. Not that my voice, I sound like Fran Dresser, I feel like. But whatever, we're here. Okay, so if you're trying to burn fat, caffeine is a good thing. That's why a lot of fat pills will have a lot of, but don't really hear it means you hear it. No, you can't hear it, Red? Okay. We'll keep it on. So it activates the adrenaline receptors on those fat cells, allowing them to be broken down and released. Okay? So if you're looking to burn fat, you do want caffeine. If you're looking to build muscle, you do want caffeine. Because you can also push harder too when you have that like extra brain focus. But then how much do you want? Because if you have too much, it does one other thing besides making you jittery, right? We don't want to be jittery where then we feel sick. So how much do you guys think we want? I would say anywhere between 1 and 250 milligrams, not grams, of caffeine. Beetle and Mo. Wait, I see laugh at, there, if my arm hairs aren't standing straight up and feel like ants under my skin, I'm under caffeinated. Okay, so that's the other thing too. Caffeine works on receptors, okay? So the more you drink, the more you need, right? I can drink coffee literally all day long and my receptors don't respond anymore. I swear. I could drink coffee like water. And I don't. Now, if I don't drink coffee, I'll know I didn't drink coffee. I'll feel like crap. But I could go from 10 cups to 20 cups and I wouldn't feel a thing. It'd feel the same. It's a bad thing, I'm sure. So caffeine makes you jittery and you feel sick to your stomach. Red? Yes. And a lot of that is that caffeine intoxication that they talk about. And we'll go over more reasons why. I've made sure I have a Carly here so I stay on track for you guys. Does anybody know another way that you could use a pre-workout that has caffeine in it? Again, we're saying 250 milligrams or less. How you could use it to your benefit so you don't feel jittery. So you take those jitters out. Mo says, I feel like coffee, Nat, I feel like coffee isn't enough caffeine. Because it's, compared to other things, it's not. If you were to take a Monster, what's a Monster nowadays? Does anyone know? Can anyone check? What's a Monster? It's like, 300 milligrams of caffeine? So that's your pre-workout, right? But most of these, let's see, I've got Megawatt right here. Oh, this is one I want to talk about. Huperzine A. That's actually illegal in some places like Australia. Anyway. Let's see. I actually just grabbed these. So I didn't even look at these. I know the ingredients in the one I take. But generally speaking, they all kind of have some of the same stuff because nobody knows what pre-workout to take and why. They just know they want a pre-workout because they want to feel like they want to work out, right? That's really what most people, but we'll get into that. That's why I have notes to keep myself on track. But I'm going to still sidetrack because it's my show. I have a show. Anyway, okay. What was the other one? So natural caffeine, you have 150 milligrams. And then you have a coffee extract, 100 milligrams. And then you have huperzine, which again is a stimulant, 50 micrograms. And again, that's illegal, I think, in Australia. So you're already at your peak. Plus it has green coffee bean extract, green tea extract, which is also caffeine. And that's like 190 milligrams. So you're up to 400. Plus, if you're double scooping, which most people do, lots of caffeine. So that's going to make you jittery. So if I only had Megawatt, which is made by First Form, if I only had Megawatt, I would probably take half a dose, and to go back to timing, I would make sure I only took it in the morning and I would not take it after 12. I thought once you get going, endomorphins kick in like speed. So adrenaline is what gives you part of that feeling. And then acetylcholine. It's acetylcholine. Or is it alpha GPT? I think it's alpha GPT is going to be what gives you kind of that feel good, runner's high, right? But I mean, think about it. For a runner's high, you have to really run for a while. And people want the pre-workout so that they feel like going for the run, that then gets them the runner's high, that then just makes them run, right? So Megawatt, little high on there, okay? Let's see. This is a non-stimulant. That one's a non-stimulant. There's a NO Explode is one. That was really popular. C4 is a really popular one. Does anybody else take one that they want me to talk about that has their ingredients? I could look it up. Anyway. But yes, Red says that caffeine withdrawal, after a few days, it goes away. It does, because they're your receptors that need to clear out. Now, it's not just switching pre-workouts, so you can't just switch from one pre-workout to another pre-workout that has a ton of caffeine in it to get rid of the jitters. Okay? You have to actually decrease, if not eliminate, your caffeine intake. Just like alcohol, you know? Late. It's okay, Wilson. Thanks for coming. So, to mitigate jitters, keep the caffeine intake to 250 milligrams or less in a dose. That means if you're double scooping it, that needs to be a very low dose pre-workout for caffeine if you don't want jitters. If you do want jitters, she's drinking an espresso right now. So espresso, actually, if I remember right, it's not very high in caffeine. Blonde roasted coffee, I heard, is much higher, but I need to confirm that still. Okay. So the next thing, yeah, I stick to mostly coffee. I do a pre-workout. I'll share with you what I use, but it's a non-stimulant pre-workout. So the next one, the next biggest complaint with pre-workouts outside of jitters comes oftentimes with jitters. Not always. You may not always get the jitters to have this, but oftentimes it'll come after. Do you guys know what it is? 30 seconds. Just kidding. Crash. Well, I think I put this on the post, so I kind of gave it all away. But the crash. Yeah. The crash and burn. The eyes. Every time I see those eyes, Mo, this is what I think of. I do this to my kids all the time when they're outside doing something they shouldn't. Anyway. So yes, the crash. Do you guys know what the crash is associated with? Obviously, it has something to do with caffeine and or another stimulant, like huperzine and other stuff. Oh. It's you looking guilty. No. So it's your adrenaline. Okay, when you have an extreme amount of adrenaline, you crash after that, right? Doesn't mean that it's because of caffeine. It could be a ton of different things. Stress can induce all of that. But that overstimulation, especially with higher intake of caffeine, will often, especially if you're getting jittery, will give you that crash at the end. Why? So adrenaline is different than cortisol. Okay, cortisol is a stress hormone, but adrenaline is much different. Does anybody know kind of where it's different or what's different about it? So it's similar in effect of like a fight or flight hormone. Nobody? Something with blood. Similar, yeah. So you have your fight or flight hormone, but it is a neurotransmitter. So adrenaline will actually make you feel creative. Interesting, huh? Does anybody know what produces the majority of your adrenaline? I know, I almost thought I would do like a presentation on something, like on a thing and just click through it. I'm like, no, that's kind of boring because that's like class and I still feel like I'm in class. But I hope it's like interesting class because it's things maybe you've experienced. I know Mo doesn't drink them. But I forgot what I asked you now. Does anybody know what produces, I think that's what I asked you. Does anybody know what produces the majority of your adrenaline? It's your adrenal glands, the majority of them, majority of it. If you have too much adrenaline, though, it will shut down your digestion. You will get headaches. It will actually decrease blood circulation. So cold hands, cold feet. What else does it do? Where's my notes? Oh, overactive bladder. Yeah. You guys ever get that adrenaline rush like you're going to go on a roller coaster or for me, when I'm about to go on stage, I could pee probably 500 million times. Yeah. I'll have gone and then need to go again. And when you're doing a show, that sucks because you have tanner everywhere and you really don't, because you can't sit on the toilet because then your tanner comes off your butt. And then, so you have to squat, which I squat anyway. I don't sit on public toilets. That little paper thing cannot possibly protect you from anything. Who made up that paper? That's like not even good gift wrapping parchment paper. And you want me to protect myself from whatever's on that thing? No. Nope. No. I will squat all day long. I will squat. My girls squat. They had the hardest time learning how to squat while they were growing because it's hard to squat when you're short. Mo, just kidding. No, but seriously. So anyway, you're squatting, which means the distance between exit to entry, exit to toilet is a lot larger, giving more susceptibility of splash. Now, I'm not a hard peer, so I don't splash often. But, no pun intended, having that tanner on will sure highlight your weaknesses in splashing. Iceman comes at the perfect time. Iceman, we were talking about squatting on the toilet, and then you show up. What? And you say espresso with a lemon twist. I sure hope you are back when we were talking about coffee and not now. So, anyway, tanner will highlight your pee game, if it's strong or if it's not. So yeah, when I'm about to get on a show, my adrenaline's high. I gotta pee. Does anybody know why that is? It's that fight or flight. So last thing your body is thinking about is having something in your body to digest and process so it gets rid of it. So the moment that you crash, we get into number 3. Well, actually, the third biggest one was not this. The last one, diarrhea, that was the last complaint on the top 5. Turns out, over a quarter of the people that take pre-workout and choose to admit that, not that it's bad to admit it, but choose to then volunteer the information that they have diarrhea after pre-workout, 26% say this is a problem, which tells me probably 50% have this problem, and probably 24% of you don't want to talk about it. Am I right? No one wants to say I got a problem with that. Yeah, diarrhea. That's number 5, though. So it tells you how many, maybe more people are willing to admit they have the jitters. Maybe like, that's a safe one. Check. Jitters. Check. Crash. Diarrhea. I'm going to leave that one off the table. Let someone else like Iceman pull that off. But it makes sense because it all goes down the chain, okay? So caffeine is kind of like our biggest culprit, right? For all of this. Too much caffeine. And we're going to get into solutions. We're not just going to talk about problems here. We talk about solutions. Diarrhea scared away. Hey, Mark, you came in at the right time, too. Okay. Wait, I saw tailpipe somewhere. I won't fall for the banana in the I'm going to go ahead and hope that's a Mario Kart joke. That's one of my favorite video games of all time. Okay, third biggest pre-workout complaint, Beverly Hills Cop. Oh, that was a long time ago, but I don't remember that joke. Yes, Beetle. Yes, I read everything you type. This is a skill set I'm trying to practice, actually, because otherwise I just read it in my head and people think I'm retarded. And then they go, what is she doing? So I realized to be a good person here, I have to read what's there. You're not freaking old, Iceman, are you? Why would you say that out of the random? Oh, because of the movie? I was around. Okay. Staying on course. I've got my paper Carly right here so I can stay on track. Okay. Tingling is the third biggest complaint. And guess what? Has nada to do with caffeine, our biggest culprit, or adrenaline, its best friend. Can you imagine? Does anybody know what the cause for the tingle? You don't need to throw up. I get off track well on my own, trust me. It makes me feel normal. Okay, so tingle. Anybody feel tingly when you take your pre-workout? And I don't mean when Iceman, or Mark, just kidding. Bad jokes. Bad jokes. Tailpipes and tingles. That's what we should call this stream. No one would have any idea what it was about, but we all would know. Huh? Tailpipes and tingles. Dude. You know what? That should be a pre-workout name. With a banana logo. I'm dead. Mo's first pre-workout is going to be tailpipes and tingles. It's going to be her first one she ever tries. And it is better than tailpipes and tingles. That could be like the kids' drink. No. Too far. Too far, wrong road. Okay, tingling. Anybody know? I have a funny story I think I've shared with you guys already about when me and Mr. Mustard were running. I think I did this. I think I was sitting here when I talked about it. I can't remember which live stream I talked about it on. But we were talking about running and beta-alanine, I think, right? I think I talked to you. Anyways, if not, repeat or fast forward me if you can. If you're stuck with me, you're stuck. So, beta-alanine is the common culprit for that lovely tingle. It is not caffeine. It is not adrenaline. It is beta-alanine. And you can actually take this separately. And I used to at one point. Does anybody know why you would want beta-alanine? Or what it might be used for, or how maybe it works? 30 seconds, fake plate, 30 seconds is up. So, beta-alanine blocks lactic acid buildup. So, it basically, how can I put this? In a pre-workout, someone that's doing CrossFit, let's say, or is extremely sore from prior workouts, right? Or is going to be training for long periods where they could get crampy, like a runner, right? So beta-alanine will actually block the lactic acid that builds up as you're breaking down energy and parts of the body, basically. So what was the best way to put this? It will bind. So I wrote this out because it's a little bit confusing. It will bind to H ions, H plus ions in your body that are released when you work out, when you run. So as those muscles tear down, as your energy gets used, they release this and it builds up. And that's what gives you cramps, makes you too sore to do that next rep. Beta alanine will help buffer that. Okay? So it doesn't mean it stops it entirely. It just delays it. It creates kind of like this layer, basically, you can say. And when it does that, you get that kind of tingling sensation because it activates certain parts of your nerves and cells that make you tingly, you know? So the more you put in there, the more tingly you're going to feel. Now, you don't need a ton of this stuff at all. You don't need much. I made the mistake this time. We were just dating and we're going on this like hike up a hill up to this cross thing. And we're taking our pre-workout, and I don't really know why I'm taking beta alanine. I just know this guy I'm dating takes this stuff, so I'm supposed to take it too. So we're opening up his trunk and we're getting all of our stuff to do this run and this hike. Looks like a hike, but we did a run. It was like a run. And we have our BCAAs, and then we add beta alanine. Well, I added it. I added too much. I added 2 scoops, thinking 2 scoops is better than 1 scoop, not knowing that was what makes me feel tingly. Because Josh would always, Mr. Mustard would always make this beforehand. So I put 2 scoops in mine, 2 scoops in his. We start drinking it. It's hot outside. And we start running, the adrenaline kicks in. Okay? The cortisol starts to peak. And I'm about ready to vomit because there's too much tingle mixed with the high caffeine, our BCAAs, which has all these other fillers, which we'll talk about next for the gut part. But I had way too much beta alanine, way too much. And I about threw up at the top of the hill, and Mr. Mustard was like, "What did you put in this drink?" And I was like, "I put 2 scoops of beta alanine in, and then our pre-workout and our BCAAs, and I don't know what's going on." And then he told me, "Yeah, the beta alanine is going to make you tingly, and you don't need that much, and this is why we're both miserable." I learned my lesson at that point. And actually, I don't intentionally take it since then. It will be snuck into things. For example, your pre-workout. So if we take this megawatt, let's see, do they have it in here? I bet you they do. Magnesium, choline, acetyl. So acetylcholine is really good. We'll talk about non-stimulants. Acetylcholine is really, really good for focus, okay? But also that mind-muscle connection. It's actually the, it's actually what makes that, it's the neurotransmitter. It activates your neurotransmitters to your motor neurons, right? So it's the literal mind-muscle connection ingredient. So when if you're someone that's like lifting, even if you don't take something with a stimulant, and even if you do, I would make sure you have acetylcholine in there because of that increased benefit of the mind-muscle connection. And then alpha GPT is another non-stimulant ingredient. And I believe the studies back in like 2021 or 2022 showed within like 90 minutes. So this is like something that you could take instantly, but within like 90 minutes, strength increased. I think it was like by 44% or like maybe it was 14%. I think it was 14%, but like within 90, like so instantaneous basically. In fact, I wonder if they have it in here because they have the huperzine. It might be in their proprietary blend portion of this too. They have L-tyrosine. So L-tyrosine is another one that I highly recommend. Tyrosine is an essential amino acid, but it's also the precursor to what supports the thyroid. So like, and they put 1,000 milligrams in here. Wow. Sorry, this is like the first time I've actually read, because I don't take this one. I mean, it's still too much caffeine for me, but that's kind of cool. That and the choline, they have 400 milligrams of choline in there, so that's good focus. Anyway, I should get back to the tingling. So beta-alanine will buffer lactic acid. Increases, like I said, cell activation, so the excitement of the cell, part of why you tingle. It helps with digestion. So if you have high caffeine stimulating high cortisol, which gives you an excessive amount of acid in your stomach, and then you have the adrenaline, the excessive amount of adrenaline because of the caffeine, usually, or another stimulant, right? So even if it's not caffeine, it's a stimulant, but it's high, has a high response. So you have high adrenaline, high cortisol, and then you add in beta-alanine. This is like what most pre-workouts will have in them, because people, like I said, don't know why they're taking it. So they just want a lot of everything. They want to see that it has everything in there, right? But why, if you have so we have the tingle, why would you want beta-alanine in there because aiding in digestion would seem like a good thing, right? But what do you think is probably the most common issue with people taking the pre-workout before they go work out that's aiding to our next problem, which is the nausea? Anybody know? I almost forgot my water. And this is what made me think of it. Dehydration and no food. Most people do not eat enough. Most people do not drink enough water. So you're dehydrated. You have an empty stomach. You just threw in a crap ton of caffeine. And even if you did eat, most people ate a long time ago because they don't want to go to the gym on a full stomach most of the time. Okay? But even still, so you have high caffeine, high cortisol response, high adrenaline response, the crash, the jitters, the tingle if it has beta-alanine in it, and now you have nausea. on top of it because you didn't eat and you're dehydrated. And now the last part that adds to that nausea that's usually in that pre-workout is what? Artificial sweeteners, food coloring. What else do they put in here? Sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, natural and artificial flavor, which means anything they want to put in there. Malic acid, silicone dioxide, sucralose. All that stuff makes that gut crabby. Super pissed off. Super pissed off. Super upset. So high caffeine, high cortisol, high adrenaline response, beta alanine, possibly even too much, makes you jittery. On top of that, all this makes digestion go tenfold because you have the fight or flight response times 2, cortisol and adrenaline. And then you have the aids in digestion. So now you're super flushing, which leads to dun, 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 diarrhea. Diarrhea. For 26% of those that were honest. Not me. No, I have an iron gut. But 26% said yes. And now you can understand why. You have all this crap in there, and a lot of it actually works against each other, depending on your goals. So, and here's how I'll explain that. People that go to the gym, they have usually one goal in mind. They're either there to work out for a sport, performance, or they're there to work out for health and aesthetics. For most people training for performance, you're not caring as much about the aesthetic portion of it. So, for example, CrossFit. I don't know many girls that want to look like that. And that's why I like bodybuilding, because I can build my body to the shape that I want, and I don't want to look like a man. I want to look feminine. I want to have a nice booty and nice legs and a nice upper body that's toned but not big. I don't want to look huge. CrossFit, your focus is timed and how much and how long and how far and how wide. It's not about form and the muscle fibers you're targeting or the shape that you're creating. Hence the shape that's created. It's an all over kind of bulkiness, right? Same thing for a guy. They have the big turtle shell abs for the most part. It's not controlled movements with controlled core work and using specific exercises for specific things, which means you're going to have different needs. And this is why I say this. With CrossFit for performance, it's timed. You're needing to go for a long period of time with minimal rest, or let's say a marathon runner or a football player. You have to be able to, for the most part, right? Like, of course we care, but your performance is the focus. So with that being the case, you're not focused on some of the things that maybe a bodybuilder or someone that is looking to change their shape is looking for. So with someone that's looking for performance, they might want something with higher caffeine in it because they want that fight or flight type of response. Definitely not overdo it, but you want that heightened level, right? You might want that beta alanine in there, or sometime around your training to help with lactic acid. You might want to include things like BCAAs that will help stimulate brain function and focus and energy. But you may not want other things that create a pump in the body. Okay? Things like that would be, well, I mean, you would want carnitine. Alpha GPT would be one. The acetylcholine, you wouldn't worry so much about things that focus on that mind-muscle connection. Or the pump, niacin is a big one. That'll help with blood flow, but you may not care as much about ingredients that are going to give you a pump in the gym. Whereas a bodybuilder, that pump actually benefits you, creating more blood flow to the muscle, more nutrients to the muscle. So you're going to grow faster. You're going to get more micro trauma tears because just the muscle itself is stretched out more because it's expanded. But you want to, so basically you want to ask yourself, what is my goal? Do I want performance or do I want body shaping? Like basically, or would be the two. And then, so from there you can kind of say, do I want stimulant or non-stimulant? So obviously someone doing performance would maybe want something more stimulant, but let's say you're like sensitive to stimulant ones. You can do things like acetylcholine to help with that brain awakeness, I guess you could say. You could do, what are some of the other ones? Like I would say actually just do a smaller dose of caffeine. But as a bodybuilder, you may want some of that caffeine benefits, but too much is actually going to restrict that blood flow and pump. So you want to keep pre-workout minimal, or not pre-workout. You want to keep caffeine minimal, just enough to wake you up, right? Or just enough to get your brain going, to wake up your brain cells, but not so much that it's going to restrict blood flow and go against whatever ingredient you choose for pump. Okay? So for those that are looking to build muscle, your problem may not be jitters, your problem may not be crash, or tingling, or diarrhea, or nausea, or maybe it's all the above, but it's not helping. It could be because it's got too high of caffeine and not enough pump, or maybe too much of both. So that's what I would check for one, if you're a bodybuilder. If you're a performer, like looking for performance, and you don't need things for a pump, but you need things to keep you energized and going, honestly, I would look a lot towards your nutrition because you'll have longer fuel sources there. But you can, L-carnitine is a good one. Acetyl L-carnitine, I take that. This actually helps with fat loss. So this is what I take. Acetyl L-carnitine. Okay. So nootropic. So works on the brain basically. But this helps break down fat and use it for fuel. So, and it's a non-stimulant. Okay, so I take this about 15 minutes before I go work out, or not to work out, do my cardio, to help with fuel sources. But other than that, for a pre-workout, because I don't want a lot of caffeine, I already drink enough caffeine, and on top of it, I want as much pump as I can get, because because I'm a baddie in the gym. So your Botox gal can give you self-injections. Oh, of L-carnitine. I don't have a Botox girl. I'm actually deathly afraid of needles. When I heard how many little whole things they have to do, and often it's like every 3 months, and then don't you have to buy more? You have to buy more to keep it that way, right? Like you have to fill up. It's nothing. It's Wilson, but you're like a badass though, so that doesn't count. Mark, this is the non-stimulant pre-workout that I recommend, if that's what you're asking. Because we didn't say I'm not here to tell you what pre-workout to buy. You have to determine that yourself. You have to ask for you though, Mark, because you're my client, so that's fine. I'll answer those. Not if you have a good person, they won't overfill you. I don't even want to try to find how long did it take you to find the right person, Wilson? Did you have to go through any non-right people? Because, if I were to do it, I would do it here. Because I express myself with my eyebrows a lot. You're friends with her. Should we ship her out? Can she do it in California? Is there a license thing? Probably. Because it's a dot, right? You're friends with her. If she wants to travel every 3 months, I don't know. It's hard enough just to make a nail appointment, let alone, that's why I do my own eyelashes. That's why she takes appointments in Arizona. Road trip. No. Yeah, that's why the only appointments I go to are my nail appointments. I don't have time for that. I wish I did. Even every 3 months, that's a lot. I have to go see my best friend to do my hair. And that's hard enough. You should ask her. She's always like, I hate you. I'm her worst appointment. She gets so lovingly irritated. She's the best. But back to pre-workouts. Botox soon. No drinks. Yes. Good job, Mark. Yeah, Mark, dude. Remember we were all talking about drinking and how it doesn't benefit you or maybe you shouldn't if it hinders your goals in your life and stuff like that. Well, Mark has not drank since then. I'm super proud of Mark. And that's not a good pre-workout either. Alcohol, it's not. Yeah. Okay. So I take this one, driven by MRM. You have your niacin in there for blood flow. You have your iron, your magnesium, your sodium, your potassium, all your B6, your B12. Okay? But then we get down here and you get into all the blends. So you have your muscle blend. So citrulline is, you're probably familiar with arginine. So arginine helps block lactic acid buildup as well. But citrulline is much more effective citrulline is much more effective at nitric oxide release. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of something else. Okay. Arginine is a precursor to nitric oxide. When you work out, nitric oxide is released, signaling to the brain that damage has been done to the area. Citrulline, L-citrulline, is more effective at doing that, signaling that to the body, to the brain, than arginine. Years ago, arginine was like the thing. Problem is where that releases, where that sends that signal to release more nitric oxide is in your stomach. Not where you want it, okay? So you think bloat, nausea, upset stomach, diarrhea, that would be a big cause of that. And I believe they even have arginine in this one. I believe I saw that in there. I might be wrong. Okay, I think I'm wrong. But citrulline is proven much more effective, and it actually releases nitric oxide, like helps release nitric oxide where you should in the muscle. So that is why this says muscle blend. Then you have your beta alanine, right? You have your taurine and your red beet powder, okay? The hydration blend, yeah, we can go over that stuff that helps with hydration at a different time. But we'll go down here to the energy blend. So you have acetyltyrosine. So again, your tyrosine, okay? You have your acetyl L-carnitine. Now, when those are put together, you're actually going to get a much better response when you have tyrosine and carnitine together, not separate, together. Tyrosine, like I was saying, is so for the it's good for the thyroid. So T3 and T4, okay, which you guys have probably all heard about, that's tyrosine with 3 iodines or 4. So for people with thyroid issues, you might have been told to take iodine, and that is how that helps, with those hormone production. You have your cordyceps. We should go over that one day. That's a whole different topic. And then you have your natural caffeine, 130 milligrams. And that is it. Then you have Schisandra berry and peak ATP, which is like, peak ATP is their proprietary blend of 25 milligrams. So the total that you're going to have here is 155. So even if you double scooped this, would still keep you within range and not jittery. Okay, it does have beta alanine in it, so you might have that tingle factor. So if you do have that tingle factor, do not double scoop. I do double scoop. Well, technically, I do 1 scoop before my workout, and then I do half a scoop in the middle of my workout to get me through the rest of the workout. So that's what I take. Again, I also take the acetyl L-carnitine before my workout to help use those fat cells for energy a lot faster. But again, for Mark's question, how do you know which pre-workout to use? Ask yourself, is it for performance or physique, health, stuff like that? And then once you've determined that, then you know if you need or want caffeine and how much you want to be on the lower end or the higher end. Higher end for performance, obviously. Lower end for physical appearance, because you want to make those changes. That'll affect your adrenaline. Beta alanine is going to determine, obviously for performance, if you have any soreness, how long your workout is, if it's over an hour and it's hard, intense workouts, I would say yes. Obviously for a pump, I would say yes for workouts. And then not too much, right, because of the nausea. And then the last part would be other ingredients added to it. Is there a high amount of artificial sweeteners in there? Does it have food colorings? Does it have sodium bicarbonate in it? Does it have magnesium? Okay, magnesium is going to make you feel good, but it will also make you go poo-poo. So if you have too much of all that other stuff plus magnesium, you are just a slip and slide for fun, and we don't want that. So depending on that will help guide you to determining if the pre-workout that you have is crap or if you should look into a different one. The last thing I would say, if it's a good pre-workout or if it's crap, is it third-party tested? I believe MRM, I believe, is third-party tested. They should put that on their label, though. First Form is, and they usually put this on their label, too, and they didn't. I wonder why. I so would, because you have to pay so much more to have things third-party tested. But that's like Andy Frizella's biggest thing. Is I'm third-party tested. I'm third-party tested. But it doesn't say, and I don't want to say it is, and it's not anymore. Because what if they stopped and didn't tell anybody and just... That would suck. I'm going to look into that. I believe all First Form products are third-party tested. They should be, because that's what they say. But that's what I look for. And then, yeah, another lesson learned. Always check your labels after you've used them for a while. Because they flip the script on you, clearly. Anyway, what else with pre-workouts? What if you don't want a stimulant and you are just wanting to burn fat? Okay, so that's where I would say, yeah. But you're going to need 2 grams. So 4 of these before, I believe. And that will help synthesize that fat before a weightlifting workout. Is there a brand that anybody likes that we can look up the ingredients for, and we can talk about how much caffeine they have, or maybe that's what I'll do here. C4 is a big one. What does C4? No, not the... Yeah, we want C4 Energy. You like Bloom Pre? Use Performix. Let's go with those ones. Bloom Pre. Oh, it's so pretty. You can get it at Target. Let's go ahead and share some screens here. Let's open up the ingredients first. Can you just give me your ingredients? Thank you very much. Full screen. Ooh, I see L-tyrosine. All right, let's share the screen. Oh. Oh, you see me. You see me. You see me. Did I stop you? Did I not share the screen? No, I didn't. Here we go. Hiya, hiya. Don't worry, Wilson. We're going to find out if it's good for you. Okay. So, whoop. You have your citrulline. Looks like you have 2 different types in there. That's fancy. You got your beta alanine and your beetroot extract. So that's your, see, performance. Is that starting to make sense, y'all? So you have your performance blend. Now you have your energy and focus blend. I like that they give you the total amount at the top. L-tyrosine, green leaf extract, L-theanine, rhodiola root extract, Korean ginseng. So it's, I think it's Spanish ginseng is really good for hormone health and growth hormone production. But Korean ginseng, I wonder if that too has any growth hormone things. Toothed club moss. What? Hold up. What is that? Tooth club moss. Let's find out. Tooth club moss. I did that in all one word, whatever. Google's like, you're retarded. Oh, huperzine A. That makes sense. So huperzine A, that's what I was talking about, is banned in Australia. But it is for cognitive function. Yes. Interesting. I didn't know that was exactly what it was from. So that's its, yeah, okay, so it's widely researched for its potential in treating Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Yep. But I did not know that was what it was extracted from. That's so weird. What does it look like? There's stuff in my garden that I didn't even know was onions, by the way. It's always good to look up. Oh, that looks so familiar, right? You all have seen stuff like that. I want more pictures. I'm so pictures. Give me more pictures. I want to see what you look like. Show me your face. Okay. So this looks so familiar. Why does this look like... Of course, it takes me to Amazon. It's like, I know you want to go there. Doesn't that look like something in here? Like in our world? I mean, it is in our... Like in California? Like in our backyard. And it's banned in Australia? I've gone too far. Oh. It's a moss. Here we go. Distribution found from India, the eastern Himalayas to Korea, through Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, Polynesia, the Sandwich Islands. Sounds good. Interesting. Excuse me. Epilepsy. schizophrenia. See, there's so many things in the world that are so beneficial for us. That's what medicine just basically tries to mimic. Anyway, I will look into all that on a different day. I'll deep dive more into that ingredient. Oop, hi. Hello. Oh, no. Now you see everything. Now you see me. Now you don't. Now you do. Now you don't. Now you do. Now you don't. I forgot my mouse. So it does look, that's what it looks like. Rosemary. Like stuff in your garden. I probably saw it in a fish tank. No, but those ingredients do look, oh, you know what? I didn't look at that. What else is, hold on. Because those additives, right? But it looked like it was probably pretty clean. Other ingredients. Citric acid, natural and artificial flavors, silicone dioxide, sulfamine potassium, and sucralose. So the sucralose is going to be inflammatory to the gut wall. And then something else that we should talk about is the synthetic forms of all of these vitamins. I know you can't see it right now, but the vitamin C, the B6, the B12, where it comes from, and Epipepsi. But where your supplements come from, and if it's synthetic or from like a whole food option, and why. I know we kind of talked about the cofactors with things that come from whole foods and actual plants, like the club tooth monster, moss man. But how that's beneficial. It's more expensive. It's a lot harder to find good products like that. And then two, a lot of the supplement companies are pushed out by the big brands because the big brands can make something that most people don't understand, like a pre-workout, and just throw a bunch of crap in it and put a pretty label on it and say it's the best because it gives you energy, yet it's really killing your goals with bodybuilding because it's too much caffeine and you're restricting your blood vessels, so you're not getting as much of a pump, so you're not getting as much of the micro trauma tears, or maybe you're throwing up all your food or pooping it all out. Or you just don't like it. If it has a ton of caffeine and it has a bunch of that other stuff and you still want to take it, I would recommend lowering the dose. But that's hard because, again, caffeine plays on those receptors. So your receptors will get more and more desensitized to caffeine, and you'll need more and more and more for that same effect, right? So that's part of why ones that are like crazy insane, oh yeah, rah, is usually not beneficial. You want the more chill pre-workout most of the time. Wilson says, I haven't taken pre in a while, just been drinking espresso. Honestly, the Driven is so mild for me by MRM that I don't really get awake with it. I get more of that pump with it. And that's really honestly what I'm looking for anyway, because I'm tired no matter what at 3 a.m. So when I go to work out, yeah, nothing can really wake me up, really. I just have to get going. And I think that's the case whether I wake up at 3 or I wake up at 6 or I wake up at 10. To be frank, I mean, seriously, whoever wants to get up out of bed until they're ready to get up and out of bed? Anytime your alarm goes off, no matter what the time is, no one wants to get, it's like the toddler inside of you. It's like, I don't want to get up because I just don't want to. I don't want to be told. I don't want to have to. I want to when I want to. And those are the only times I ever feel refreshed, is when I get out of bed, when I want to get out of bed, or when I want to wake up, which doesn't happen when you're a parent for the most part. After that, it's not your choice. Unfortunately, I have this little career. You have a big career in the FBI. No, but that's true. Got to get up and go to work. So, I remember when I had to, this is going to sound bad. I remember when I had to get up to go to work. Because now I just get up and I come to work out, and I work while I work out, and then I work. When you own your business, you work nonstop. So I don't ever stop working. But when I did work for somebody and I had to go to work, I could wake up at the same time on the weekend, and if I just woke myself up, it was fine. But when an alarm wakes me up, it's like I'm just automatically bitter. So, yeah. I don't know how I got on that tangent. Where's Iceman? It's his fault. Just kidding. Oh, you used to use Performix. Beetle, I wasn't forgetting about you. I promise. Let's look that up. But I'm going to look it up on my phone. Performix. Ooh. Those are cute looking. They're like little balls. Okay. To be fair, Beetle, they are cute little balls. But anytime a supplement company is cute, no offense, Wilson, but kind of like the Bloom, I instantly question ingredients. Anytime they try to do something fancy with the look, more so this than Bloom. Bloom's just like cute, kind of feeds off like the girl thing. Like the girl like, Bloom, But the balls, it's like they're trying to create their own, I'm not trying to be negative, but it's like they're trying to create their own like new system, like advanced things. So it just makes me question. They might have a good graphic designer. It looks like though that's what it is those little pills with balls in them. Let's see. Does it show the actual pill? It just shows you the outside. Oh no. They're ballsy. They're ballsy. Look at I'm JLRing it right now. Except with a mic. Yeah, they got little balls in them. Time release. Okay, so that actually is a really, Beetle, that's actually a really good thing. If it has, especially something like caffeine in it, and it's a pre-workout, because that wasn't usually available. Like time-released caffeine capsules, that was not available really like 12, 15 years ago. So the fact that they have, oh, here's the ingredients. Here we go. Hi. Oh, come back here. Now it's running from me. It's like, no, not me. My fat fingers will not let it open. Okay. Well, it's not going to let me open it, so I have to try to read it from a weirdness. So it's extreme energy metabolism and focus Terra bead complex. Oh, so it's a bead. They don't call them balls. They're beads, ladies. Beads. Not balls. Caffeine, by the way, caffeine is probably one of the cheapest ingredients that you can put in a pre-workout. Just so you know. Super easy to put in there. Extreme buzzworded package. Yes, it so is. So performance, extreme energy, metabolism, and focus Terra bead complex. It's their... Oh, they didn't patent the Terra bead part. Interesting. Okay. So caffeine, it has 300 milligrams right off the bat. So we're tapped out there. Theacrine. Avodi. Oh, it has yohimbe bark. Okay, so yohimbe bark is going to be your other non-caffeine but stimulant. Okay. And it has 5 milligrams of that. Has your black pepper, totally common. I think Bloom had black pepper at the end. Chili CO2 extract. That's a new one. And then it has, oh, this is interesting. It has an oil complex to it. So it has triglycerides, safflower. So it's doing like CLA. CLA is good, but I don't know if I would put fats with my other ingredients. Excuse me. Because how your body processes fats and supplements is usually very different. I don't usually put, and then on top of that, I don't put a ton of fats around my workout meals because it takes a lot longer to burn. And it slows down the absorption of carbs. And I want carbs to go to my muscles really fast. And then I also want carbs to replenish my muscle glycogen really fast afterwards. I want all those carbs to go into my muscles so that I'm getting the best results. And so actually fats will hinder that. It'll slow that down. So it kind of works against you. So I would say if they could take that, I get what they're trying to do for metabolism because CLA helps the metabolism and these are good oils. But it's going to work against you as far as energy usage, especially of just the food that you're eating. And you want to eat food so that you don't get nauseous or crash or not, or diarrhea or jittery, right? We don't want to be empty stomach. We don't want to be dehydrated. So that would be my biggest like caveat with that. And then you get down to the bottom and your other ingredients, which is always where they get you. This is where like, this is the real shitter. This is what sends you to the pooper. Gelatin. And this is also in order of how much, right? So like the first one I say has the most. You're craving steak now. You CLA. That's why. Gelatin, sucrose, starch, pharmaceutical glaze. Like what is pharmaceutical glaze? That sounds like if Diddy had a party at a pharmaceutical company. He's like, it's just the glaze, guys. It's just the glaze. I don't know. Polyvinyl pyrrolidone. I'll have to look that up. FD&C Blue 1, FD&C Blue 2, FD&C Red 40, FD&C Yellow 6. This is so it looks cool. Some random sludge legit, and colors up like those colors. Yeah. Calcium silicate maltodextrin. That's it. You don't take that anymore, right? No, doesn't sound good, Wilson. You're going to turn into a rainbow. No. See, they could take 2 or 3 of these ingredients and just make it that, and it would be great, but then it doesn't set itself apart from all the other companies, right? You got to make yourself different. Oh, but we got this and this and this. Like, why? This one says for energy and focus, but I don't even think it has choline in there, does it? I don't think I saw any choline, which is like the biggest driver for focus. And it's not that expensive. If you want something that's like bougie, like a bougie supplement to make you feel good, that would help give you some of these effects, would be like Iranian saffron. Go find that. Yeah, this one's not ideal for sure. But you knew it. You knew it, Beetle. You just wanted to put it out here so we could talk about it. Thank you. I like examples. They help me. Performix. Interesting. Where'd you hear, Beetle, where'd you hear about these ball busters? Curious. Did you see them at a store? A back alley. Nat always calls me bougie. Well, no. You have good taste. Military. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Because they don't care. They don't. So a lot of my clients that are currently in the military, they don't care nothing about your nutrition, unfortunately. Not a thing. Or your health. That's why you guys are usually pincushions. Yeah, the Beetle. It wasn't the colors, was it? Let's be honest. The Air Force? Okay. So my uncle was in the Air Force. Gosh, when you have to talk for, see, I don't, usually my kids do all the talking. Usually I'm like, I'm glad the Air Force cared. Because most of the time, stories I've heard, military does not. And with, well, he was like, not my real uncle. He's like my dad's other, sorry, Dad. So my sister, my older sister, is really my half sister. So her mom's brother flew for the Air Force. And then he went to commercial. And yeah. But I was so young when I knew him. He didn't tell me anything bad, so anyway, that's pre-workout. I hope I helped you guys. What did I miss? Did I miss anything that I wanted to talk about? Or think I got everything. Now, whether I explained it, that's the hard part. Because there's so many different reasons why one pre-workout might be a really bad choice for you and why another one might be good for you. And then also you might want to have a mixture, to be fair. Josh likes, Mr. Mustard likes the Megawatt. If I'm really struggling for focus and energy and brain, I will do a scoop of this. Consistently, no. Otherwise, it's driven. And then my acetyl L-carnitine before cardio. But if you're CrossFit and your performance, you might not want to do either one of these. You might want to focus on something that will give you more energy, more lactic acid buffering, right? If you're doing long-term or CrossFit or like 2-hour workout even. Yeah, you might do something different. But if you do have issues, like the ones we talked about, those are things to think about. Okay. Well, I think we've ran this one into the ground. Yeah? No? Maybe so. Mo drinks coffee. Hey, Mo, do you drink mushroom coffee? And I don't mean the mushroom coffee that's not good for you, mushroom coffee, but allowed mushrooms. Do a take on Caged. Ready, set, go. Let's look up Caged. What's their goal? Are they looking to build muscle, fat loss, performance? Ooh, it says without a crash. Let's see. Caged. Oh, look at their hands are all tatted on there. Dang. Third party certified. That's what we like to see. All right, so let's go to the pre-workout sport. The original pre-workout or the future of pre-workout? Which one am I doing? Big butt. Oh, she wants a big butt. Okay. Okay, if she wants a big butt, she's not going to want a lot of caffeine. You need as much blood flow as possible. Okay? So high caffeine is going to, and thick legs. Okay, well, I can relate to that because that's my goal too. So, here you go, honey. No, but just kidding. Okay, so which one is she doing? I assume she's female because she wants a big butt. Most guys don't really care about their butt, although they should because the sport. Okay. Here we go. Oh, that one's cute too, the black and pink. All right. Cute's not always bad. I'm just saying, usually if they're trying real hard. Okay. She's got the taurine, that's good. Tyrosine. Caffeine, 188 milligrams, good. 1.6 grams of beta alanine. That's good. That's on the higher end, so she's probably feeling some good tingles. Betaine, that's good. And citrulline. So this all looks good. I'm checking out their magnesium. It's from Aquaman MGAG. I wonder if it's citrate. It doesn't say. I'll have to look up their other. Obviously, it's their brand, I assume, of magnesium. I like that the sodium is pink Himalayan salt too. That's some good stuff. Okay, so what is the extra ingredients? Why doesn't it tell me what else is added in there? Oh, here we go. They hide it on the side. So when you go to swipe, you can't see it. Watch. So it's right here. So I'm going to go to swipe to try to look at it. And look at it, just goes. You can't. It doesn't want you to. But I'm smarter, so I'm going to stop it. Citric acid, common, natural flavors. I hate how they get away with that because that can be pretty much anything. Silicone dioxide, calcium silicate, tartaric acid, steviol, glycosides, sucralose, vegetable powder for color. Good thing you don't have coloring in them. Looks like you've got stevia, but you also have the sucralose. So the sucralose is probably going to create some gut inflammation for you. Same with the citric acid. And unfortunately, without knowing what the natural flavors are, like I said, they can get away with almost anything to flavor that. So that could be something that is going to irritate your gut, but it looks pretty clean overall. So, and I like that they color it not with food coloring. If you like this and it doesn't make you jittery, it doesn't make you crash, it doesn't make you nauseous, the tingle isn't too bad because like I said, 1.6, that's on the higher end of beta alanine. So you're probably feeling a good tingle. Is she too tingly? No, it's promising. It's not promise. Here's the thing. This is the hard part with supplements. You have to have things in there most of the time that are going to inflame the gut because it's a powder. You're trying to put things together and make sure that when you eat it or you drink it, that it goes to, it breaks down the right way in the body. So you could say, oh, you know, citrulline is good, but when it's not mixed with, when it's not put together with carnitine, it doesn't do the same things. Or like, let's say the form of B6 and B12, how the body can utilize that versus a whole foods option of B6, B12, things like that. You don't have, see, you do have sucralose. I hate how they throw in sucralose. Just keep the stevia. If building her butt is the goal and she doesn't have a problem with the tingle, is she in here? Tell her to say something. Say hi. I don't bite. So if you don't like the tingle, I would get something with a lower dose beta alanine. Probably like 0.8 grams per serving. So if you could cut that in half and still feel enough of that alertness that you're looking for, enough of that pump that you're looking for, and then the tingles are more manageable. Maybe do half in the beginning of your workout, and then maybe halfway through, or just half in the beginning, and that's it. Or like I said, find one with a lower dose beta-alanine to it. You can also, if you're someone that likes beta-alanine, maybe you're the opposite, you can add, like I did, beta-alanine separately and vomit yourself. But you can add that separately. If you do like the tingle and it's not enough, but you love everything about your pre-workout and you just want more tingle, you can add in extra beta-alanine. But if this is too much, my suggestion would be to either cut it in half and see if it still gives you the same benefits from all the other elements that you're looking for. And then if not, see if they have one that doesn't have so much, or if there's another brand that you like. The beta-alanine, it's not gonna tell me. Oh no, 1,000 milligrams. Yeah. So this is much less. This has 1,000 milligrams, and I feel it. And sometimes the rush from the beta-alanine is too much, even for me. It's like, blah, 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 blah. So, maybe try Driven if you're not looking for it for like a mental stimulation and energy focus. Because here's the thing too, like ask yourself, okay, whether your performance or bodybuilding, what is your goal? And I don't mean goal for like that. I mean, what are you looking to fix? Are you looking to fix energy levels in your body? Are you looking for energy in your brain, like to wake you up? Are you looking for pump? Like, what are you trying to really get out of it? Okay, so yeah, your performance, yeah, your bodybuilding, but even in those categories, your desires and your wants can be a little bit different. Obviously, things will benefit you differently, but your desires and what you like can be different. So if it's to wake you up, like your brain, caffeine is probably going to be the best at that. And so just keep it within range so we don't get jittery, we don't crash. Fire truck. What the? What the? So keep it under like 250, 300, right? Milligrams. And then if you're not caring about that, if you just want pump, look for like the beta-alanine, mind-muscle connection, the acetylcholine or choline. Look for alpha GPT. Look for niacin for blood flow. So you get more nutrients to the area. Look for L-carnitine. Look for, I'm missing one. And it's going to come to my head. And what is it? Anyway, look for those. And then if you're not looking for pump, let's say you don't care about a pump. Some people that are overweight don't want a pump just yet. They want to wait for the pump because otherwise they just feel bigger. So you could take things like niacin and beta-alanine out, or things with lower doses of it. Or you could just do straight caffeine. Did you know you can just get caffeine pills? It is one of the cheapest supplements that you can put in a supplement or buy. It is not expensive. So if you legit just wanted caffeine, you can get caffeine pills. than just that. Did you guys know that? And I'm not talking about the gas station ones. Please don't go there. So anyway, if you don't want caffeine, you don't want to pump, let's say you just want to focus, the acetylcholine is really good. So anything with like a nootropic is good. They'll usually say it on there. L-carnitine is a nootropic. Oops. And someone's like, nootropic. But it's nootropic. Anyway. Jessie on Saved by the Bell. Did she? Smart girl. She's like, I'm keeping it clean. Yeah. Like on the show, did she like pop those pills on the show? Probably not, right? Or was it when she was taking a test? Because she was always the one that was like, looked like she was cracked out on caffeine, right? Yeah. Stress ball, high cortisol, tons of adrenaline. You're welcome, Mark. Yeah, I've got to end here. Hubby has the mini mustards. By the way, we have a merch store now for mustard. Okay? You're going to see all my lovely mods once they message me back, whenever you have the chance. I want to put a little sweatshirt on all you wrenchers. So even though people can't see you, you can feel like you've been mustarded. So I wanted to send you guys a Mustard Mama sweatshirt. If you look on the channel on YouTube, it'll say Streamlabs, merch store, Mustard Mama, something. And this is just the start, okay? My daughter wants to help me design now there's an ambulance. See, I'm telling you, this window is not a good thing. And they've got their lights on. Wilson, what's happening? Where's the live feed? Should I go follow it? Ah! Okay. Totally want to go take you guys for a road trip. Okay. So yes, the merch store. There's things for kids. There's mini mustard sweatshirts and mustard seed sweatshirts for the kids. There's a long sleeve shirt for the guys. You'll see Mr. Mustard wearing his soon. There's stickers, but for my mods, I thought I did this right, but no one responded. So maybe I didn't. But I thought I put in Discord another section for my mods that's just you guys. And I asked you guys your sweatshirt sizes. So I don't know if there's a way you guys can let me send that to you. Or maybe I can do, I don't know, maybe Streamlabs has a way that I can just do a giveaway and you guys win, right? That way you can put in your own information and you don't have to give it to me or whatever, Anyway, but I wanted to give all you mods a sweatshirt so you could be mustard mama'd. You could be mustarded. But also as a thank you because you guys do take your time to be here. And then to all of my lovely viewers and people in the chat, it's available for you too. And I'm going to do giveaways and all kinds of fun stuff. So right now it's stickers, long sleeve shirt, crop hoodie, baseball hat just for Wilson. She's already actually got a hat. Love her. And then, so we'll do a bunch of stuff. But if you have a request for anything, Streamlabs it's pretty cool. They have all different kinds of options. Some of the stuff is a little weird looking. So, for now, it's kind of whatever options they give me. But maybe eventually if stuff takes off, we'll go to a different vendor that's got more and better stuff. But right now, Streamlabs has next level apparel, Under Armour. There's an Under Armour sweatshirt on there, which is usually really good quality. I usually like their shoes. Oh, you can't see it. maybe now. So, yeah, flexibility also to live stream here. Weekend, talk about whatever floats the boat. Usually get some new people when I do those. It's really neat, I think, because it streams. It's helped me kind of figure out. So kind of cool. We get hey. All righty. Hey, we hit a 2 hour. I think this is our first. No. Class mid. Thank you. See you soon.